Promoting your business may be a waste of time if you haven't fully validated your ideal client and exactly what they want or need. Hi, I'm Deirdre Harder, CPA and business strategy coach, and this is my partner, Carmen Reed Gilkison, a certified whole person coach. We started our business, Encore Empire, to help women in midlife who want to grow a profitable online business in a way that leverages their unique life experience and honors their values to provide the financial and time freedom that they have worked so long and so hard to attain.
Today, we want to cover promoting your business, how to determine your strategy. So there's a lot to this, and we want to make sure that people aren't just getting into the promotion bandwagon without having the strategy to back it up. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is identify your goal for promoting your business or gaining more visibility. Now, it's easy to say, I want to make more sales. That's, everyone's top goal. But you have to first audit what you have in place to ensure that more eyes on it, whatever it is, whether it's your website or it's an opt-in or, your YouTube channel or whatever you're promoting, that the more eyes on it will do you any good. And so what does that mean? That means that if you have something that is not optimized for your ideal client, like Deirdre mentioned, if you're not speaking to exactly what they want and what they need, then getting more people to look at your thing is not going to do you any good. It's going to be a lot of wasted time and effort on your part. And validation is a key piece of this and something that we teach our clients. And it's a pillar of our learning platform and our coaching, because until you have validated that what you are providing is exactly what your ideal client, not just some person, random person online, but your ideal client wants, then you're really just spinning your wheels and you're not going to gain traction because you're promoting something that doesn't hit the mark.
Yeah, that's such a good point, Carmen. And, the other part of this is the online business world changes constantly, right? But there are some foundational truths. Like in the past, the way to do the marketing, especially early on in the online space, was to just get volume, right? Like send out tons and tons of emails, get a whole bunch of people to opt into your lead magnet. Well, it's changing. And people and consumers are getting much savvier. There's a lot more information out there. And so the strategy really becomes super important. And you have to have this part dialed in, or again, you're going to waste a whole lot of time and a whole lot of money doing all of this marketing. And it's really not going to get you to the results that you're looking for. Now, another part of this that's key is to identify your strengths and what lights you up versus what drains you. There are so many ways to market, right? There's hundreds of them. And you can look at what someone else is doing and say, oh, that's working for them, so I'm going to do it too. But number one, it may or may not work, because number one, their ideal client, their client journey, all of that might be different than yours. Even though it looks like it on the surface, you really don't know what's all underneath it, and you don't know what their strategy is. So you really need to come up with your own customized strategy. And the idea of finding your strengths is you need to be in your zone of genius. You need to be using the things that you're naturally good at, the things that you've already honed your skills in, and something that you enjoy doing. Now, here's the caveat. Don't confuse your resistance to something with something that actually drains you. And I'll give you some examples here. So let's say that, you've probably heard that using video in social media marketing is the thing to do, right? It's the thing that people view the most, you get the most engagement. And you might be thinking, if you've never done this before, haven't done much of it, like, I really don't like getting on video. Like, I really don't like it. But there's a difference between it not being in your wheelhouse of skill and not enjoying it versus you just haven't done it enough to really know. And I'll tell you a story about a situation where I found myself in, where I was thinking that part of marketing that we had determined was going to be part of our marketing strategy in our sales process was something that I actually thought was something that didn't light me up. And I didn't think it was a strength of mine. And I was really resistant to it. So this was about social media selling. Carmen and I we help our clients create, and we created for ourselves a sales process. This is another strategy that kind of goes hand in hand with your marketing and your visibility. This is the conversion process that you're leading everyone to. So we knew that selling on social media and organic relationship building was a real key part of our sales process, and we built that in. So I had sales experience for decades in public accounting. That was a face-to-face, business to business, and sometimes business to a personal individual, but I had a whole lot of experience doing it. However, that was very different than social media. And I at first thought, well, it's all just going to be the same. I'm just on Zoom instead of across, the table in the conference room. But it really wasn't exactly the same. So once I started doing it, I began to feel really uncomfortable because I thought I had a skill that wasn't as strong as I thought. And so then I started thinking, well, this is draining. Like, this is exhausting to have to do this, for 3 hours a day. But what that was, it wasn't that it was something that I couldn't get comfortable and enjoy. It was the fact that it was new to me. And I was having to really master a skill and really enhance what I already knew to do. And that's being out of your comfort zone, right? And anytime we get out of our comfort zone, we're going to kind of resist that, unless we are determined to do it. But once you get past the discomfort of it and you start to get that skill built up, that's when you assess. And what I found is that it didn't drain me. I really actually enjoy it because I'm able to talk to people and I'm finding out if I can help them or not. And that's my passion. I really want to help business owners to, get those sales in, get their profits up, and do it in a way that lights them up and is consistent. So the takeaway from this is, remember that learning how to do something can be draining. It's not necessarily something that the activity itself is going to drain you. And you have to know the difference between the two before you can say, oh, that's not something I want to do, and I'm not going to build it into my strategy.
That's right. And so after you have identified your goal, identified your strengths, and what drains you, right? Ensuring that you're not just confusing something that's brand new with something that drains you. You want to develop your strategy using the data that you have. Okay. So you've identified your goal, and your goal, as we've all heard, should be measurable. So if you're going to increase sales, by how much? Is it a certain percentage? Do you want to hit a dollar mark? And then you're going to look at, how are you going to do that? That's the strategy piece. So you identify your goal. Let's say I'm going to add $50,000 to my business revenue in 2022. And so that's your goal. So now you're going to look at what your strengths are and say, okay, I love podcasting, or I love live video, or I love hosting workshops or webinars, whatever your thing is, whatever you decide that your strategy is that helps light you up and feeds into that energy. Because the reason we want it to be something that lights you up is that your energy comes across and people are drawn and attracted to the energy. So knowing that you may have to practice before live video becomes really good for you and feels natural for you, build that in. Like, maybe you understand the power of live video, and so you want that to be part of it, but you're just nervous. Well, start doing it on a smaller scale, right? So you're going to build that into your strategy. If you've got, we call this the runway. So let's say your runway, you're going to taxi down the runway for a while, practicing live video, going live in your group or other people's groups, or whatever you have to do on a weekly or even better, a daily basis to build that skill. Then you're going to look at your goal and you're going to say, okay, I've identified that I'm going to do this. I'm going to focus mostly on this thing to get me there. I have to make X amount of sales to reach that goal. And you have to know then your client journey. So let's say you have a program or a course or a service, you're a coach or whatever it is, even a product, it doesn't matter. It's the same process. You need to know what you're selling and how you're leading the people there, because the people who come into the top of the funnel are the people who are just barely aware that they have an issue that you can solve. Maybe they don't even know they have an issue yet, or a problem or a challenge. They're just kind of aware of this thing. And so you're now nurturing them through your process to get them to make those sales. And that's what the strategy is. You have to make sure that it's a step-by-step process, so that no matter where someone comes in, if they're on step 1 or they're on step 5, they're going to get to step 10 in a natural progression. And that's basically what the strategy is. So promoting your business and determining your strategy really comes down to extremely personal decisions, situations, aspects of you, and then the actual needs of what your ideal client has. So you can't just do this in a vacuum, right? You can't just say, well, I want to help people who are wanting to lose weight, and I'm going to create this whole thing out without ever talking to any of those people. That's not going to work. So what we teach through our business validation method workshop is how to validate what it is you have to ensure that it's exactly what your ideal client wants and needs. And then we help our clients develop that client journey that gets them from step 1 to step 10. So what we want to make sure that you understand is communication with your ideal client often is very much required. And it's not as scary as it seems if you haven't started that process. You just need to understand the process, and you need to understand the importance of validation and how to do that. And we break that down for you in a real fun, quick, easy, impactful workshop that allows you to come in not knowing how to do it and leave with a framework that you can use over and over again. So we invite you to register for the next Business Validation Method workshop, which we host every other month. And so you can see the URL here on the bottom of our screen. And we would love to help you nail this process so that you can promote your business in a way that makes sense.